All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're diving into a playbook that's all about deception and power, the pistol wing T offense.
Ah, yeah.
Listeners have been asking about this system, and to be honest, I've been pretty curious about it myself.
Yeah.
It's been making waves, for how well it can mess with defenses, even really good ones, especially when they're stacking the box, trying to shut down the run.
Right, right. Yeah.
So we're going to go deep today into Coach Stewart's playbook notes on this offense
Okay.
and see what makes it tick. We're in for a wild ride from the looks of it.
Yeah.
A unique terminology, creative drills, and a whole philosophy of practice that seems to balance, precision with player well-being.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how Coach Stewart approaches the pistol wing tee.
Yeah.
It's not just about running people over, but it can definitely do that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a chess match,
Right.
blending power with misdirection to keep the defense guessing.
So, okay, let's break this down. Why would a coach even choose this offense? What are the big advantages that Coach Stewart is highlighting in his notes?
Well, he's really focused on a few key things. One is expanding offensive options.
Okay.
The pistol wing tee, it just gives you so many ways to attack that it makes it really tough for the defense to know what's coming.
Okay, so you're keeping them on their toes.
Yeah, keep them off balance. And then when you face those defenses that love to load the box, basically daring you to pass, this system lets you run right at them, even with all those extra guys.
Okay.
And then you add in the misdirection we talked about. I mean, it sets up play action passes beautifully.
So it's not just about counting the rock.
No, not at all.
It's about keeping the defense off balance, forcing them to react instead of dictating what's happening.
Precisely. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And the cool thing is, it still enables that classic downhill running style that wears down a defense over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you've sold me on the why. Let's get into the how.
Okay.
Walk me through the basics of how this offense lines up and operates.
Well, it starts at the formation, and this is where the pistol part of the name comes in.
Oh, okay.
The quarterback lines up about 3 yards behind the center. Think of it like a gunslinger in the Wild West, ready to draw.
Right, yeah.
That deeper position gives him a way better view of the field than a traditional quarterback under center would have.
So he's got eyes on the whole defense, ready to make those split-second decisions.
Exactly. Now, the running backs are positioned to really take advantage of that downhill running style we talked about. What's interesting is the numbering system they use. It seems a little complex at first, but it actually makes things simpler for the players. Each hole on the offensive line is numbered, and each back is assigned a number 2.
Okay.
The quarterback is 1, the left halfback is 2, the tailback is 3, and the right halfback is 4.
So like the code, right?
Yeah, think of it like that.
When they call a play, everyone instantly knows where they need to be and who's getting a ball.
That's it. And Coach Stewart takes it even further with his terminology. The linemen only need to focus on the last word of the play call. He calls it the technique word.
Okay, that's brilliant. Cuts through the noise and gives them just a clear instruction. But I'm curious, what does all this sound like in a real play call?
Let me give you an example. Over trips right, rip 47 reach.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. Break it down for me. What's happening in this play?
Okay, so over tells the receivers to switch sides. Trips right, moves the left halfback to the right side. Rip puts the right halfback in motion. Then 47 tells us the right halfback, number 4, is aiming for the 7th hole.
Okay.
And finally, reach tells the offensive line what blocking technique to use.
So it's like a choreographed dance, Each word triggers a specific movement. No wonder defenses have trouble reading this offense. All that motion must be maddening.
Oh yeah, motion is huge in the pistol wing tee. It's like a magician, right? Distracting you with one hand while doing something sneaky with the other. It's all about hesitation and confusion. Coach Stewart even gives the motions these fun names like Liz, Rip, Lazy, Lou, Tail, and Tar.
Okay.
Each one sends a back on a specific path to manipulate the defense.
So, okay, but what makes Liz different from, say, Rip in terms of how it affects the defense?
Well, Liz usually sends the back on a quick lateral motion like towards the sideline, and that forces the defense to spread out their coverage. On the other hand, Rip is like a more direct, hard motion towards the center, and that often pulls linebackers in toward the middle.
So it's not just random movement.
No.
It's Strategic, targeted motion to exploit weaknesses.
Exactly. And this is where the quarterback's role becomes even more crucial. He's not just, handing the ball off in this offense.
Right, I was just thinking that. He's got to be pretty sharp to run this effectively. It's not just strong arm. It's reading the defense and making the right call on the fly.
Exactly. The pistol wing tee uses a lot of option plays. So the quarterback is reading the defense and deciding in real time whether to hand off or keep it himself.
Right.
It's like a point guard in basketball, surveying the court and deciding who gets the ball for the best shot.
So what's an example of how this works in a game situation?
Take the buck sweep, for example. The quarterback, he's watching that defensive end like a hawk.
Right.
If the end crashes down to stop the running back, the quarterback keeps the ball and runs. If that end stays wide, the quarterback hands off to the back, sweeping around the edge.
Okay.
It's all about reading and reacting. The midline veer is another great example where the quarterback's reading the defensive tackle to make his choice.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all comes together. The formations, the motions, the terminology, the quarterback's decision-making.
Yeah.
It's all designed to create chaos for the defense and open up those running lanes.
Right.
But we can't forget about the unsung heroes of any run-heavy offense, the guys up front.
Oh, absolutely. The offensive line is the foundation of the pistol wing tee. Like any building needs a solid foundation.
So how does Coach Stewart approach offensive line play within this system? What makes it unique?
He really emphasizes tailoring their techniques to the specific demands of this offense. They're the ones creating those running lanes and protecting the quarterback, so how they execute is absolutely critical.
What kind of blocking schemes are we talking about here? What makes them different?
It's built around what he calls pull-heavy blocking schemes.
All right.
Basically, linemen pull out of their original positions to lead block for the running backs. That generates the downhill momentum that's so key to this offense.
Okay.
He has a few variations: G-pull, O-pull, T-pull, and trap pull. Each one has specific assignments for the linemen involved. And get this, the play call itself actually tells the lineman which technique to use.
Wow, that's wild. So the play call is doing double duty.
Pretty much.
It's not just telling the backs where to go, it's dictating the blocking scheme. Talk about efficiency, like a well-oiled machine.
That's the idea. And to make sure his linemen are really mastering these techniques, Coach Stewart uses some really creative drills. He even uses these things called spacing boards to help them visualize and maintain the proper spacing during drills.
Spacing boards, huh? That's a great idea. Taking a complex concept and turning it into something they can see and feel. It seems like Coach Stewart has a knack for finding creative ways to teach these concepts. And speaking of creative teaching, those running back drills sound pretty unique, too.
Oh, yeah.
What were some of those that stood out to you?
Well, there's this one called Fool Me,
Okay.
and the running backs actually have to do push-ups if the defender correctly guesses who has the ball.
Oh, man. That's good.
So talk about motivation to sell those fakes.
14 push-ups for a blown fake. That'll get those guys focused on deception and ball security.
Right.
What other drills were interesting?
Well, there's perfect plays, which is all about precision and urgency. The offense runs a set of plays, and any mistake, even a tiny one, resets the whole team back to zero. They have to keep going until they get it perfectly right.
Oh, wow. So you can't just get it mostly right.
Nope.
Has to be perfect. I can see how that would build accountability and attention to detail.
For sure. And then there's the half-line drill, which helps the offensive line practice blocking against defenders in different formations. They basically practice against half of a defensive line to get a feel for how to adjust their blocking schemes based on where the defenders are lined up.
It sounds like Coach Stewart really values repetition, building that muscle memory, and helping his players react instinctively in different situations.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And his approach goes beyond individual drills. He's got a very structured and detailed practice philosophy that we can dive into next.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear more about this practice plan. We've already uncovered some really fascinating things about this pistol wing tee, but I'm definitely eager to hear more about that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into Coach Stewart's practice plan.
Okay.
It's very organized, breaks down the week into specific segments.
Right.
Each day has a distinct focus, which lets him build on concepts progressively.
So it's not just, randomly running plays all week.
Right.
There's a method to the madness here.
Absolutely. Mondays are all about what he calls the Go series,
Okay.
which is their term for buck sweep plays.
Okay.
They also mix in some basic three-step passing drills.
Right.
Got to keep those skills sharp.
Keep them fresh.
And then, of course, it's Monday.
Right.
So it wouldn't be complete without film review,
Of course.
breaking down the previous game and identifying areas to work on.
Makes sense. Start the week by analyzing what needs work.
Exactly.
So how do things progress from there? What's the focus on Tuesday?
Tuesday shifts to the belly series and down series. These are core running plays that really highlight that downhill running style we talked about.
Okay.
And they also incorporate what they call the yellow passing game on Tuesdays.
So they're building up the complexity, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the week, adding new plays, new concepts.
Yeah, like layers.
Yeah, it's almost like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Start with a basic vocabulary, then you build more complex sentences.
That's a great way to put it.
And then Wednesday?
Wednesday's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Practice starts later on Wednesdays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like around 6 p.m.
Wow, that's different.
instead of the usual time.
Yeah, what's the reasoning there? Most coaches, want to get those practices in early.
I think Coach Stewart really believes in finding that balance between football and life, that
Yeah.
later start time gives players a chance to catch up on schoolwork, go to appointments, or just get some extra rest.
I like that, yeah.
Sends a message that he values them as people, not just athletes.
That's great. That's a refreshing perspective, especially in a world that so often prioritizes the athletic performance above everything else.
Yeah.
It shows real commitment to the player's well-being.
For sure.
So what do those later Wednesday practices look like? Do they still get to everything?
They use the time really efficiently.
Okay.
Starting later, they skip individual drills and jump right into group work, team sessions.
Oh.
They focus on the option series and jet series,
Okay.
which are more advanced, building on what they've done earlier in the week.
Right.
They also work on what they call the sprint passing game,
Okay.
which is their more complex passing attack.
Okay.
A lot of Wednesday is also dedicated to game situation drills,
Oh, wait.
putting everything they've learned into a more realistic context.
Simulating that game pressure
Exactly.
and preparing them to make those quick decisions, right?
Yeah. It's one thing to run a play perfectly in practice, but it's a whole other ball game when you got a 300-pound lineman coming at you.
Yeah, for sure. And even with this focus on academics, well-being, he still makes time for conditioning,
Oh, yeah.
right? You can't run this powerful downhill offense
Right.
without being in top physical shape.
Absolutely.
But I bet it's not just running laps around the field.
Oh, no.
What's the approach?
Coach Stewart incorporates different conditioning drills each day, and he ties them to specific parts of the game.
Okay.
So it's not just mindless running, it's purposeful,
Right.
building the muscles and movements they need on the field.
Okay, walk me through these drills.
Right.
What does that look like throughout the week?
Mondays are all about sled races,
Okay.
building that explosive power off the line.
Yeah.
Tuesdays focus on punt coverage,
Okay.
working on speed and angles.
Makes sense.
And then, Wednesdays are game day prep,
Yeah.
so they do kickoff coverage.
So even the conditioning drills are designed to reinforce those game-specific skills.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're practicing the movements at full speed,
Yeah.
building that muscle memory. It's not just working harder, it's working smarter.
That's it.
I like that.
And here's a cool twist.
Okay.
He always ends conditioning with perfect plays for the offense and successful pursuit for the defense.
Okay.
Just a little competition to finish practice on a high note.
I like it. So how do these perfect plays work?
For the offense, they have to run 3 running plays and 1 passing play perfectly.
Okay.
No mistakes, no penalties,
Wow.
clean execution, all within 1 minute.
Okay.
And they have to get a total of 12 perfect plays to complete the drill.
Wow. The pressure's on.
Any mistake, they go back to 0 and start over.
Oh, man, that's tough.
Talk about building mental toughness.
Yeah.
Attention to detail.
Right. It's like training for those clutch situations in a game.
Exactly. You got to be able to perform under pressure.
You got to deliver when it counts.
For the defense, their challenge is pursuit. They have to run down the ball carrier, and everyone has to be involved.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, emphasizes teamwork, relentless effort.
Right.
2 key ingredients for a good defense.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It seems like Coach Stewart really knows how to make practice challenging but also engaging.
Yeah.
Pushing them hard but still keeping it fun and competitive.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
And, his approach, it goes beyond the X's and O's.
Right.
He talks about the philosophy behind the pistol wing tee a lot in his notes.
Okay, I want to hear about this. Yeah, what are some of the key points?
Well, for him, it's more than just a set of plays.
Right.
It's a system that builds confidence, discipline, accountability.
Okay.
He believes in giving his players the tools they need to make decisions on the field.
Yeah.
It's not just blindly following orders.
Right.
It's understanding the why behind the plays, developing that football IQ.
Yeah, that's crucial.
Right. You can't just be a robot out there.
Right.
You got to adapt, got to react to what the defense is doing.
Yeah. You got to think for yourself.
Exactly. Thinking players, not just reacting.
Right.
And, this focus on communications, specialized training, performing under pressure.
Yeah.
Those are principles that apply beyond football.
Absolutely.
Think about any high-performing team, business, surgical team, musical group. You need clear roles, processes, commitment to excellence.
Yeah. Those are universal.
Those are the principles of success.
Yeah, those are the keys. That's what makes this deep dive so interesting,
Yeah.
We're not just talking about football.
No.
We're exploring the fundamentals of teamwork, leadership, high performance.
In any field,
Yeah.
Eric.
We've covered a lot today, from formations and motions to blocking schemes and practice philosophy.
Yeah.
It's clear that Coach Stewart, he's really put a lot of thought into building this successful program.
He has.
But, as we wrap this up, what really stands out is how much of Coach Stewart's philosophy you can apply to everyday life.
Yeah.
Even if you've never even played football.
Absolutely.
It's like we were just saying, right?
Yeah.
Clear communication, specialized training, performing under pressure.
Yeah.
That's valuable anywhere.
For sure.
Leading a team at work, tackling a project, even just learning a new skill.
Right.
It's all about breaking down a big goal into smaller steps, just like his practice plan. Master the fundamentals, then move on to the tougher stuff.
Build on each step.
Exactly. And we can't forget mindset either.
Oh, yeah.
Like those running backs doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need a little extra push ourselves,
Right.
to stay focused.
That accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
Or that internal drive.
It's about embracing the challenge.
Yeah.
Learning from those setbacks and never giving up on that excellence.
For sure.
Makes you wonder if we should all be doing those fool me drills in real life.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it would. But seriously, I think what we see here is that even something like this, the pistol wing tee, it can teach us about teamwork, leadership, achieving at high level.
Absolutely.
Anywhere.
And that's what's so cool about these deep dives, right?
Yeah.
We uncover those little nuggets of wisdom. Find unexpected connections.
Yeah.
Things that inspire us.
It can apply to anything.
Any part of our lives.
For sure.
So, next time you're facing a challenge, think back to this, right?
Yeah.
Break it down, practice with intention, remember clear communication, that focus on execution. You might surprise yourself.
You never know.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the pistol wing tee offense.
Great stuff.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing yourselves.
Be the best you.